Well guys, I just wanted to give you a bit of context to why I actually started this channel. So you have a little bit of a position where I'm coming from and why my videos are the way they are. Now, I was just like everyone else and I was a noob. And I mean, years ago I did ride some steel bikes for a while with the selectors on the down tubes, and they worked fine. I mean, we had no indexing then. I had Shimano 600 and had a Cerrone frames, and I did some cycling for a number of years. And just in recent times, obviously with YouTube, I was getting back into photography and enjoying photography. And as I've commented before, I've got a Lotus, and I had an Instagram channel where I posted hundreds and hundreds of Lotus cars on that channel. But with me taking up cycling again, I noticed that there was some lacking in some of these top-end bikes. So that's when I started to think about making a channel to talk about this sort of stuff. Now, for me, video was a bit of a new thing. I'd never done video before, and I had pretty good cameras, but I hadn't really used them in a video type configuration, and that was a whole new ballpark for me. And because I was into photography and I was doing stills, I wanted the quality to be fairly good. So that was a bit of a learning curve for me. I had to learn, and I'd do research on a lot of channels and learn how to use my camera in the video settings. And I wanted to be able to use it in the manual settings because that was kind of my nature of things. I come from a technical background, and I wanted to apply that to my video as I had done to my photography. So after having some issues with one of my top-end bikes, and I thought I was buying a premium bike, it was a Cervelo S5, and that bike was quite expensive at the time. I did actually get it for a good price because it was the model year before and used to get quite significant discounts. And I'd had a Cervelo before, so I bought another Cervelo. And I'd always had a bit of trouble with the shifting on these bikes, and I always thought that just came down to, you know, the equipment was just not as refined as it should be. But then it came apparent when I actually put a new group set on the Cervelo S5 that the way that the cabling was designed was impacting on how these group sets perform, and that was to do with the indexing and the changing of the gears. And I was quite disappointed with that because I found that, hey look, I'm buying top-end gear and it just doesn't really work. It doesn't meet the advertised hype that these products put out, and you're going to get, like, you know, it was a top-end Record Campagnolo group set, and it was a VWD Cervelo S5, and they just weren't compatible. And that kind of project, and I spent a lot of money, was really a significant failure. And then I started watching videos that basically called out the bicycle industry, and we have videos like, you know, Durian Rider is a big person, although he does actually do diet and life skills as well. So his channel kind of incorporates different things. And then there was Leshier Technique with rail, and I have a lot of respect for him because he really went down to quite small levels to be able to call it out. And then we have people like Hambini, who basically showed that the reason why a lot of these components were not compatible with each other when you have a finished bike, it's because that the parts are just not made well enough to be compatible with each other. And then there was Peak Talk, but Peak Talk at that time when I was thinking about doing my video was quite small. And it appeared to me that there was very few people out there actually talking about this stuff because most channels want to align themselves with the products. And the reason why they do that is because there's a lot more scope for making money. And with my photography, I follow a guy called Potato Jet, and he did a video where he actually explained how these sponsored videos work. And he was given an example of he was doing a new Sony camera, and the amount of money that he was getting to make that video was about $5,000 to $6,000 US. And obviously he has to research, he has to do some work out how the camera works so we can actually do the video. But that can be significant money to some people. So you can see why they align themselves with the products, because they want to be either considered an ambassador of that product, or they want to be promoting that product through one of their videos. And if you can get enough subscribers, you can attract these type of sponsorships. But if you're going to, call out the products, or in the whole scheme of things say that they're bad, you're going to cut your throat there, and you're not going to get these sponsorships. So it's a path that not a lot of influencers or channels want to go, because you're kind of limiting your scope for making money. So this inspired me to make my own channel, and in some ways align it to these other channels, align it to Hambini, Durian Rider and Lecia Technique mostly, and also obviously Peak Talk. But as I said, Peak Talk was quite a small channel when I first started. So it may seem like I'm on the, the coattails of these channels, and that was by design, because I wanted to support these channels and offer another voice that is aligning themselves with these type of channels and calling out the industry. Because I've lost money because of poor quality in the bicycle industry, and even with that Cervelo S5s, even the finish on it, because it was a gloss finish, you could see the waviness down the down tube, and the finish was just actually pretty poor. And I reckon that's part of the reason why a lot of the bikes now have a matte finish. They're trying to hide the imperfections on the bikes, but that's just, that is 100% opinion. I can't substantiate that. I just had a bike where the surface was obviously not straight. But I just wanted to give you some context of why I started this channel. And this is the reason, because if you look at all of the channels out there talking about cycling, most of them are trying to talk a positive narrative. Now, I know mine is a negative narrative, and some people don't like that. They like to be optimistic. But I've just seen so many problems in the bicycle industry. That's what inspired me to make this channel. And I just wanted to level up here with you guys on that, because it might sound like I'm just whining and complaining and going, oh, disc brakes are rubbish and all this new tech's rubbish, and I'm living in the 90s and old tech and all that sort of thing. But if you actually look at it really closely, these products are not that sophisticated. And I think that the cycling industry is intentionally overcomplicating them, because that sells product, and it also creates more parts to be sold, aftermarket parts, and it also creates more work for their distributors, because then now the servicing of these bikes is becoming a lot longer and a lot more sophisticated, and the build cost they can charge higher because the bike's now a lot more complicated. I mean, anyone can say, oh yeah, look, I reckon these bikes are worth 10,000. I reckon these bikes are worth 15,000. Whatever, that's your opinion. But in reality, if you go to average Joe in the street who's not into bikes, and you say, my bike costs me 15,000, they look at you as if you are insane, you're crazy, right? Even $5,000, they think you're insane. They go, how the hell can you spend that much on a bike? It's just craziness, right? And I think we forget that, because we're into the sport of cycling, and we've become acceptable of those sorts of prices that they're putting on these products, and I think it's a little bit outrageous. Well, anyway, guys, leave your comments down below. I just wanted to put that out there so people are aware of what my channel is about and why Waynos Fotos exists. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next vid. Cheers.